Good afternoon. My name is Ryan and I'm a library technician with the Oxford County Library. Welcome to today's Tech Talk. Today we're talking about misinformation. This is a topic I often get asked about around elections especially, and with the recent federal election the questions are coming up again, so I thought this would be a good topic to cover. Today, talking misinformation, specifically fake and misleading news in social media. Since the 2016 American election, fake news has been spotlighted and efforts have been made to mitigate the impacts and bring light to what it is today, how it operates, who it impacts, and what we as individuals can do about it. Today we're talking about misinformation, why we are concerned, who it hurts, how to think critically about information and report misinformation. So what are the common statistics around fake news? This is a poll that was taken a year or two ago, but at the time it said CBC News did this an article on the Ipsos poll, and they determined 68% of Canadians are concerned about fake news coming from Facebook, 65% from social media in general, 62% from websites. Since this poll was mostly social media platforms, most social media platforms are now taking an active role in curbing misinformation. You may have noticed during the pandemic, any posts made about COVID or a pandemic, Facebook, Twitter were adding a disclaimer saying this may not be accurate information and linking to accurate government information about the pandemic. So what is it? PolitiFact described fake news as fabricated content designed to fool readers and subsequently make viral through the internet to a large group of people who further disseminate it. I'd like to distinguish between satire, mistakes, and deliberately misleading news. Satire news parodies current news items, often taking them to ridiculous extremes. However, it's not uncommon to accidentally be taken in by a piece of satire. This does not make it fake news. Satire media has existed as long as media has been around, but the difference here is it never pretends to be factual, and the news sources always disclaim it as satire news. The goal of satire news is to raise social concerns and point out hypocrisies, ironies through comedy. So here we've got two, and just like to think about what's satire news here, what's likely fake news. So on the one side, we have Greta Thunberg, an article, Democrats criticized Trump for attacking Greta Thunberg instead of praising her bravery, ignoring her later. That's a satire news article versus the death of Queen Elizabeth II. That is fake news. It looks legitimate at the top there. It is not true. It's an inflammatory article. Let's try one more. Here we have two articles. Can you guess which one is fake or satire? You'll notice on the one side we have an inflammatory fake news article pretending to be from CBS News US, and on the other side is a satire article from the Beaverton, a Canadian satire news source. So the one we have, and usually the titles will be tongue-in-cheek, insurance industry warns that single-payer pharmacare could reduce their access to money. Again, it's tongue-in-cheek. That's a satire news article. Versus the one on the other side, Trump's mother has ties to the KGB. That's inflammatory and is likely fake news. What it is not. Is it fake? Here's another, one more article here. US seeks to buy Greenland. It looks fake. It looks inflammatory. This is actually was legitimate news. When this news broke, I have to admit it was so absurd. I considered whether it might be fake, but as you can see, once you dig into an article and do a bit of research, you're able to find a credible news source behind it, the journalist who wrote the article. This is in fact legitimate news. What it is not. Fake news is not satire news sites, satire pieces, and or mistakes in the media that are corrected. So why? Why does fake news exist? Who makes it and for what purpose? How do these different purposes all affect our election. The why here is connected to a plethora of social issues, including world poverty, intellectual poverty and populism, propaganda, and money. Fake news has always been around, but today it's easier than ever and it's cheap. You can make a lot of money creating fake news websites, articles. Some news organizations present wrong information for profit or propaganda. Fake news makes money through advertising. Legitimate advertisers pay pennies for each view on an advertisement, and even more for a click. Fake news is almost always littered with advertising, and often the pages will move several seconds after loading to increase the likelihood that you'll click on them. According to a recent CBC Massey lecture, misinformation is now used broadly with the intent to destabilize Western countries, to promote infighting and discord that distract from the atrocities happening around the world. So where is it? Misinformation and fake news is everywhere. Today it comes in memes, written on websites, recorded on YouTube. Once the meme created or an article is written, it is shared through social media such as Facebook, Twitter, or email. With each click, the originating website makes money on advertising. These articles are first shared in groups with people who believe it. These users share it with their own page, and so it spreads. What often makes it spread quicker is when a politician, celebrity, or other notable figure shares without reading past the headline and shares it with the intention of creating division. So what is a meme? A meme is the fastest medium to spread disinformation. Memes are images containing information, often for comedy effect, but more recently, more efficiently, for a way to spread misinformation. So here's a meme, one of my favorites on the internet. Don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it. Abraham Lincoln. That's one of my favorite memes about misinformation, and it was shared widely on the internet and debated. So, what is it? On the one side here, we have an example of a meme that circulated on social media through email. It purports that refugees are getting a total of $2,470 from the government, and our pensioners only get $1,012 per month. This is, of course, categorically false, but circulated widely. On the other side, I'm missing the corrected version of this. There is a corrected version which did not circulate widely, because why would something circulate that was no longer inflammatory or shocking? As you will note on the bottom of the image, on the one side it says, please circulate this text to see the reaction of your contacts. This disclaimer does several things. First, appealing to people to see the reaction and circulate the text to your contacts. Now the corrected version, which is not showing up, was crossed out many of the statements on this and correcting how much refugees do in fact receive and how much our pensioners also receive, which of course wasn't shared widely. So, critical thinking. This is how we combat misinformation. We have to think critically with all news and ask questions, developing a critical mindset by using the 5 W's and H. Who, when, what, where, why, and how. Investigate. Who wrote it? Check for an author's name. Is it available or missing? Authors typically put their name on something they've penned. Be skeptical if a name is not on the article. If they are listed, check their qualifications. Who are they? What other articles have they penned? And are they an expert in the field? These are all things that can be Googled quite easily. What? What does the article inform on both sides? Are there varying viewpoints in the articles? Are there sources? When was the article published? Was it repurposed, recycled, updated? I've often seen articles shared that are now inflammatory but are several years old. Where? Check the URL. Does it look correct? Have you heard of the publisher before? Why? Think about the purpose of the article. Is it clickbait? Is it entertainment? Is it deliberately misleading? Are there facts listed that tell a story, or is there mostly conjecture for a specific viewpoint? And how is the article delivered? Did it arrive in your email? Was it copy and pasted? How is it funded? Are there advertisements? Perhaps a private think tank behind it? All these can quickly become apparent by searching the internet. Finally, yield to common sense. I'll quote an article from mindtools.com. They wrote, "Use your common sense. If a story sounds unbelievable, it probably is. Bear in mind, fake news is designed to feed our biases and fears. And remember, just because a story sounds right and true doesn't mean it is." There's an article I would suggest checking out, How to Spot Real and Fake News from Mind Tools. That can be Googled. And I've got another resource to share with you here, What the Tech Boomers Say. The tech boomers ask, is the headline clickbait? Are the advertisements dodgy? According to tech boomers, they recommend avoiding news stories with all caps titles, celebrity names, and phrases like, "You won't believe," or you never saw this coming. You can read more at How to Know If News Websites or Story is Credible and Reliable from techboomers.com. Techboomers is a web resource I often recommend, and they've got a comprehensive course on misleading and fake news. So I'd suggest checking that out. That's techboomers.com. In summary, according to the website Mind Tools, fake news refers to deliberate untruths or stories that contain some truth but aren't completely accurate. Some people also claim that truthful stories are fake news just because they don't agree with them. Fake news can have a negative impact on workplace behavior, for example, by damaging learning culture, causing a rumor and mistrust to spread. So it's vital to know how to separate real and fake news. You can do this by following the following 6 steps. Develop a critical mindset, as I previously mentioned. Think about how, why, when, where, what, and how. Check the news source. Look at the URL and author. See who else is reporting the article. Google it. Typically, a real news article is picked up by multiple sources. Examine the evidence. Are they facts or are they opinions? Finally, use common sense. Remember, the internet is feeding our biases. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you've learned something. You'll have something to take away from that today. If you have any further questions or you want to get a hold of these resources, you can contact us. Also, I'd encourage you to check out the library survey. We're doing a survey at the moment. You'll find it on our website at ocl.net. Go there, check it out. There are questions specific to the tech help and virtual tech help that we've been offering, and I'd really love those of you watching, if you could go to ocl.net, you'll see it on our top banner there. There's a survey happening at the moment. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.